Imagine my surprise when Adam said he was going outside to slaughter countless innocent living creatures. He said he was going to do it with a giant swirling razor of death, 4 wheels, and some gasoline. Well, I was too scared. I couldn't bring myself to watch. He was much quieter than I thought appropriate for such a massacre. All I heard was the roar of that swirling blade and the hum of burning gas. The grass didn't make a sound as it was ripped in half. How could the sun permit such a perversion to the growth of its children? Of course. Can I blame the sun for the decisions of man? When I did peek, I saw Adam listening to his AirPods. I thought no wonder. Man has made a job of becoming numb to nature. Is this truly man's domain, to choose which grass is cut and which remains uncut? Upon what unfound pride does man have to decide the fate of millions? And how are you supposed to ask him when he's wearing AirPods? Those who haven't deafened themselves must question how much more can we take of this unregulated cutting before we make our stand and decide to force man to hear us with something truly unmovable. Ourselves! Bruce Lee once said, "Move like water." So I said, I'm 70% water. Yeah, great advice, Bruce. We didn't talk much after that, me and Bruce. He died, and when he did, he asked me to bury his ashes under his favorite tree. But I threw them in the ocean. Yeah, I got my regrets, like throwing Brucey Boy's ashes in the ocean. But one thing I'd like the kids to understand is that you can have regrets. And you can have them, and you cannot hate yourself. You can love the things that you regret. You can learn from them and be glad the lessons that you learned were always needed and finally revealed. But there's a big problem. People don't like the truth. It makes them feel desperate and stupid. See, that's why we can't talk about sex or about drugs or about money. And that's also why we can't fix our economy, our fucking health crisis, our planet, or our people. And none of those outstanding citizens who've made millions off the suffering can be held accountable because they own the fucking police. Luckily, I'm here to remind all who will listen, life is fucking war! This is me. I'm Cody. Nothing special unless you count my black belt. I was in the Electric City to see Reggae Legends Elephants Dancing. But first, I gotta tell you about this fire! We drove by it on Bugs Bunny's 82nd birthday, then we got home to find Bugs Bunny. He didn't like us, because he knows the terrible truth. Bugs Bunny knows life is war and the cage is safe. Pick your poison, says Bugs, but that's all it is. Poison. To a creature like this, the idea of freedom itself is poison. To be free is to be in the sight of hawks and hounds. To be free would mean to live with fear behind every corner. So he pacifies himself. The modern Bugs Bunny is a coward. Luckily, Adam was dedicated to freeing Bugs from his own mind. Hey, Adam, get back here. Hey, you need to free Bugs and then start the next 60s. Fuck, Adam, where the fuck are you going? Hey, pal, what are you doing? Oh, my God, oh, no. Adam, stop. You're cowing to corporate mind control when you could be freeing Mother Nature from her metallic shackles. Well, okay. But only one video. Then it's back to business.
Chairman the Great, being the greatest chair stack he knew, grew bored and decided he was due more than his lot.
I'm Chairman the Great, and I deserve more than I have. My pursuit will cause chaos, but I must roll on, or I might still be bored later. Ooh yay, here I go. This is so exciting, I love this part. Whee! Fear not, my chairs. I am leading us to certain victory.
And so Chairmon managed to claim the green wall for his chairs, and they rejoiced with wonderful feasts for Chairman, even though they actually sort of liked it better in the spotlight. But they feasted regardless, for the noble kingdom had bravely gone where nobody had gone before, but they wouldn't be the last. The Empire of Cheiron, with its council of wily lights, some wanted no part in the brutality to come.
Chericus, Lord of the Chairs, you must war with Chairman!
And why is that, wily lights?
Asked the hesitant leader.
Because then we could build a lot of bombs and supercharge our economy!
Can't argue with that.
And so Lord Chericus flew to the wall with the full force of his chair army. It was a terrible war, and many chairs were bumped together. Remarkably, none of them died. But the wily lights did use the war as a convenient excuse for launching a full corporate takeover of their once prosperous nation. They continued to be prosperous, but unfortunately, at the cost of countless democratic societies and the enslavement of the global south.
Back to the real video! Say, this flag's hanging limper than Jeffrey Epstein. Ha! Where'd it go? Notice how you only ever see the price of gas. Can't see the tank. Can't see it burn. Can't even see the gas itself. All we see is the road. Adam slams the door not only in the car, but also on humanity's future. More music to drown out the dull hum of the engine as it explodes over and over, launching the car by consuming the lifeblood that is gasoline! Adam doesn't go to the nature park to relax. From atop his treetop fortress, he prepares to wage psychological warfare against the turtles. He cannot stand their arrogance. Nothing strikes fear into turtles like gymnastics! Sometimes I wonder if life has to be this way. For does not the human have the unique ability to reorganize itself and its environment? Is this not how we are capable of war in the first place? Must we go on scaring turtles till we die in nuclear holocaust? I hope we are capable of more than empty talks of peace.
And 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in the larger sense, we cannot dedicate. We cannot consecrate. We cannot living and dead, who struggle here, far above to add or detract. The world will no long remember what we say here. But it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, to be dedicated here. To the unfinished work, who fought here, so nobly, to be here, dedicated to the great task, remaining before us. From these honored days, we take full measure that we
Bugsy! That's what we started calling the bunny. In war, even your enemy becomes your brother in arms. And have you not begun to see the great battle we find ourselves involved in? Giant wires dangle over dead grass, but there are no graves in sight. But of course, when it's man's job to remember grass, man bothers not. Man would rather have telephone service than internet because he is bound to ill content till man is left with nothing but a Tyson grill, his own shit, and 6 sesame buns. For nothing soothes man's guilt more than the wonderful service that is provided by the killing of plants. That's why you don't think of grass when you turn on the TV. They say it's because grass isn't interesting, but grass is actually very interesting. For one, it's been here like a gazillion fucking years. Grass doesn't even have eyes, but it's still out here every day, thriving. I like to think, what if grass had eyes? Imagine with me, if you will, a world in which the grass saw everything you did. And it watched us all, forever together, for all of eternity. And we became united by grass's gentle eye, as it would keep us company in all of our lives. But then where would we put all the highways? How on earth would we be able to get into the big city to see all the pretty lights? Don't you people ever look at yourselves? And the truth finally comes, the heart of why we war. Pretty lights. It doesn't matter if it's on earth or in heaven. Man is willing to kill or beg or bleed or fuck, all for a look at a better view. Cities are crystallized light shows. Branded and brilliant performances are frozen in space, satisfying our need for a showing. Is man perchance a moth, unable to help himself from flying into the sun and burning off the cool wings his dad gave him? Oh my god, the space race is gonna kill us all! Great. Lafayette's Bar, Easton, Pennsylvania's cat alley for you initiated few. Don't come in dragging fleas. These cats will bite your fucking balls off. I'll introduce you to these cats in a minute. First, I gotta explain why we're here. Jazz is war. Tell me you don't hear the guns and the drum or the screaming sirens and the saxophone. This cat ain't here just blowing air through a tube, bozo. He stormed the fucking stage to blow your fucking soul up. Without further ado, here are tonight's cats. Adam Nussbaum on drums. Ryan Devlin on saxophone. Mike Bond on the keys. And Gene Perla, our loyal bassist. Take it away, boys. have considered the idea that I may perhaps be a lunatic, as I can hear you thinking now. Is that man really mad enough to hear war, even in jazz? As I have seen it in television and in the leisure of driving, so too do I see war in jazz. What then, I hear you asking, is spared from this ceaseless battle? You may not like this, but the truth is that nothing is spared from war. Even rocks, beings that want for nothing, are always being beaten by the ceaseless waves. The sand is always being pulled by the surf and pushed by the wind. Watch the wave crash and you will see war. We play in the water, we splash, and we swim and wear skimpy clothes. We think of ocean as an object of leisure. We are not anchored. With every pull of the tide, these rocks lose a little bit more of themselves. They have hardened as a survival strategy. They do not think of the beach as a place of rest, I assure you that. For water is a foe of great strength and persistence. Its crashes are mere fireworks compared to ocean's poisonous gravity. Look closely, it never stops. It swirls and whips, it pulls in all directions and pushes the small bits of rocks and drags them out to sea. Aye! As I am a man of war, so too are these rocks of war. And now we see how man handles his battle with the ocean. Ill-content, driven mad by passion unknown to humble rock. Man floats! There is no doubt man likes to sit, but he does not enjoy it nearly as much as rock. And what of man's war with sky? As I'm a man of war, so too is this a bird of war. And from the seat of his floating boat, man set his gaze on the sky. We fly! And now we sit in the air, dropping bombs and advertisements on civilians. And we are proud. Do you think the sun is proud? Do you think it looks down at our silly little toys and finds itself impressed? I don't. Because just like rocks and waves and birds, the sun never stops its war. It doesn't have the time to be impressed. It's too busy burning at 1 billion fucking degrees! And where would we be without the sun's constant combustion? If the sun weren't a son of war, we would not have a home. Look at this bird. It is at war with the sand. For it is a stupid bird, and it does not know this is a pointless war, destined to be victorless. For how does one beat sand? Fly away, you stupid bird! Without the sand, the bird of war looks for a new opponent. The only one he deems worthy is himself. Watch in horror as these birds tear themselves apart. Much speculation has been made of the seagull's brutality. Some say they are naturally stupid. Others claim the ocean is to blame for the gull's massive penchant for violence and destruction. And if the gulls who call the ocean home can be driven insane by the surf, how can we be certain of our own safety? While man has done his best to cover the shore in umbrellas and lawn chairs, this doesn't change what he is really sitting on. Ocean is a force of nature. As man sits on its surface, we find another endless war. For just as ocean erodes rock, so too does sun erode ocean. Its heat evaporating water. Ocean's war with the sun gives man the rain he needs for crops. And why do we not revere the ocean? Why do we not treat its war as sacred? Man clutters his beaches to show ocean the leisure it will never enjoy. But man thinks short, and as he distracts ocean with his fancy houses and foldable chairs, man stops not to ask, what if the ocean were to follow in man's steps? What if it were to let loose and spill its gut all over man's front lawn? Man would drown and fish would take the cities. It is this which is why man needs his swimsuit and his tan and his snorkel. While they may deeply disrespect ocean, it is the only way for man to forget that he is looking at his own inevitable doom. Hey, wait. I went to the beach last weekend. What the fuck is that doing here? I'm probably just disassociating to forget all the atrocities I commit simply by breathing. Man often tries to trick himself by helping in small, meaningless ways. I can finally admit that is what Adam and I were doing with Bugsy. But of course, it didn't work. Bugsy's innocent eyes saw right through our act. Deep down, he knew what murderous creatures we were. Unlike man, Bugsy was smart enough to smell the poison that lay buried at the heart of freedom. For Bugsy knew he would not be fit to rule fate. And what do I mean when I talk of the poison buried in the heart of freedom? Let us first think upon how man is the freest of animals. His understanding lets him defy his natural state. Thus, if man wants to fly, he will fly. Unlike dogs, man is free to fly by his abilities. But does not the ability to fly come with the decision to bomb? This freedom must thus be at constant war with man's will, for if not regulated against pain and pleasure, the power of man's freedom can make cruelty man's first loyalty. It is fear and jealousy and rage which sees man use his freedom to destroy himself, and it is by the modern propaganda of fear that man now finds himself at war with his brothers and sisters. When man is weak and afraid, he would rather be enslaved than free. You must know you are free. To reject that is to lie. A lie that becomes a prison. Thus, you must be responsible. Other people are also free, and thus are also responsible. Those who are free are strong. You must know you are free, or you will never achieve your best. Modern man bemoans and denounces the methods of his predecessors. Is there a man among you who would not decry the slave trade as one of humanity's most shameful decisions to this day? Nonetheless, we marvel at the pyramids, we still wear cotton shirts, and all the trains still run. Modern man may hate his grandfather's method, but he always has a soft spot for the benefits. We have many ill-gotten pleasures, my friend, pleasures that not only lay waste to the planet, but also that degrade our souls and diminish our freedom to choose whichever life a man wants for himself. Think now of a man who wants constant convenience. Were he to get his wish, and were it to be possible for any material to be his as soon as he desires, does not this require servants? Ask yourself if you believe men would so naturally coalesce to playing the role of another man's servant. For if the will of a single person is forced, is not the freedom of the entire class under threat? Does not the fear of slavery cross the minds of all classes, and thus enslave all of society? The true slaves become the labor, the middle class becomes slaves to the fear of losing their freedoms, and even the rulers find themselves enslaved by their gluttony. And if such a thing could happen, would man not entirely forget what it meant to be free? Would the naive man replace his own fantasies with the fantasies of his ruler? And would not the ruler convince those under his influence that the atrocities he committed were necessary? It would serve such a man well that society would have forgotten what it means to be free. For a callous ruler could claim to kill for freedom. He would convince his people that freedom means owning all that one can, and that power is the only way to secure dignity. Let not the ruler's illusions steer you astray, my friend. Freedom is not found in a sports car behind an assault rifle. Freedom is in your mind, and it is in your heart. Now ask yourself the ruler who sees freedom in justice, one who would toil to ensure his citizens enjoyed more than material freedom, but the freedoms of the soul as well, like community and purpose and love. But we wanted war! In our pursuit of convenience, we have conceived of the perfect method for profiting off the desperation for these spiritual freedoms. Facebook for community, LinkedIn for purpose, and Tinder for love. If man is so afraid of his brothers and sisters, he will turn to his devices. But man, these devices will not save you, and all these services profit by your misery and isolation. To be free, you must trust others and yourself. If you understand how Mark Zuckerberg destabilized Myanmar, you will see the constant state of war we find ourselves in the midst of. I am saying you must commit to guerrilla warfare, you stupid fuck!
This community tanks filled to the gills. Gotta fast the fish on Wednesdays and Fridays. Swap on up Gibbons out to fill a small pool. You might think I love this world, and it really bugs him. But that's aquarium life, and fish keeping us cool. Aquarium life. It's an aquarium life. Let me interject on the sweet of the sweet Macedonia. yours and much more if the price is right. Into by the pool, the bounds problematic, the soil I'm dragging you down. Did Jimmy up at my life, never making a move. Subterranean life, an aquarium life.
This is our Vietnam, and I am your Ho Chi Minh. So stop looking at your fucking phone! This movie is special. Most movies have a bad guy that the hero has to fight. The only bad guy in this movie is the fucking person watching it. Most movies think you're barely smart enough to watch them. This movie believes you're brave enough and smart enough and determined enough to redefine what it means to be truly free within yourself. I am telling anybody watching this movie, you are strong enough to face down both your own demons and the demons that society creates for you. You will not be free if you do not fight. You will not be free if you do not believe. And I will be honest, unfortunately sometimes you will fight and fail. Other times you will believe only to be abandoned. This may trick you into thinking that these are pointless acts. But know that sometimes while he who fights may be beaten, and that he who believes may be duped, know that those who don't can never be free in action or intention. For if a man cannot fight, how can he make a stand? And if a man cannot believe, what reason would he have for standing? The rulers of modern man seek to steal your power and rob your purpose. Free yourself from their programming and listen to Adam's Reggae Band!
bottles empty was suspect. Smoke rising through the trees, I could see spotlight coming right after me. We need the child, but he really plays, he got caught. Oh shit, I dropped my keys on the fence. Kid, we got arrested, talking nonsense. Singing right back when my friends here. Oh, you look so fine, baby, wanna make you mine. We take you to the reggae show, we can dance into tomorrow. It's all about being you with me. I'll show you nothing you cannot see. Loving is being set you free, so come on, baby, come in love with me. Money ain't more free.
Hit him with that flutter. Yeah. Let me get some stats. other saxophone. Let's get trumpet. Yeah, trombone. Alright, give me a sax. Yeah, other sax. Let's change that quicker. Give me that trumpet. Give me that trombone. Give me that saxophone. Give me that other saxophone. Alright, get ready. Trumpet. Trombone. Saxophone. Other sax. Do that for me again. Really good. We're at the rail. What did you just say? We're at the rail. We're at the rail. We're at the rail. At the rail.
We never got Bugsy out of his cage by the end of the weekend. Maybe teaching freedom is harder than waving a carrot in front of some poor creature's face. I had to go back to New York, back to my own little cage. For now you know the truth, friend. I am a servant of the same pains and pleasures as we all are. This is my war. I struggle to resist short-sighted excitement and often find myself feeling hopeless and beaten. I too love the rush of driving and am endlessly entertained by all the stories we put on the television. Nonetheless, it is exactly these distractions which prevent us from reaching our true potential as the deciders of fate for millions on this planet. For man is the only one creature whom the matter of deciding has been given. Know, friend, that I am a man of war, but not one of violence. This is something I've decided. This may not be natural, as violence is in man's nature, but nothing is natural for man as he understands his choice in all matters of good and evil. Finally, this is the war that is at the heart of humanity's ceaseless battle, to be good or to be evil. Many make excuses or deny the existence of these forces altogether, but is this not the freedom that man enjoys? The choice to be responsible and virtuous, or to be compulsive and selfish fiends? Trust not those who say that true freedom is found through any path other than deep love and understanding, for the only alternative is brutality and ignorance. And ask yourself, is that a world worth fighting for?